Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is George, K3SAD. I'm located in Windsor, and I will be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. The purpose of the TechNet is to enlighten amateur radio operators on topics of a technical nature. We will do our best to answer any technical questions to benefit of all listening. If a subject has never been clear to you, this is an excellent opportunity to find an answer. If anyone feels they have information that will help regarding that subject, please give your call sign and Net Control will call on you. Reset. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, say break 3 times in rapid succession and give your call sign. We will acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise that you are clear. Are there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Hearing none, all licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check in on the net. Club membership is encouraged but never required for participation within the net. Check-ins are requested to count participation and no checkout is required. This is K3SAD Net Control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly, first alphabetically, then again using the ITU phonetic alphabet, along with your name and location. When checking in, please state if you have a topic that you would like to discuss. I will be taking check-ins in groups of 3. When I've recorded the first group of 3, I will move on to the next group of 3. Barring doubles, in the interest of time, I will read back all recorded call signs after the conclusion of the first full round of check-ins. If I have made any mistakes, please call Net Control with corrections at that time. I will start by taking check-ins from any Echolink users. Please be advised that Echolink users receive with a small delay and therefore respond with delay, so there will be a pronounced pause here for response. Any call signs, Alpha through Zulu, tuning in via Echolink, please call K3SAD Net Control now. Okay, I will now take check-ins from over the air with call for prefixes Alpha through Mike. Alpha through Mike, please call now.
This is K0AZA, Kilo Zero Alpha Zulu Alpha, Ron in Fort Collins. Good evening, George.
This is
Kilo MLG, Marty, Wellington, and it's chilly out.
Okay, we had a double there with Marty. Double, go ahead.
This is Kilo Zero Hotel Alpha Kilo, Dave in Fort Collins with a topic.
Okay, let's go for the next 3.
This is N0EMP, November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie, K0DBE, Kilo Zero, Delta Bravo Echo.
Zero, Echo India, 0, L, I, Chad, and Stout. No traffic. Okay, I got Whiskey 0, LEI, Chad, and Stout, and then there was a double, and double come forward, please. Double with Chad, I'm looking for you. Whoever double with Chad, come on through.
Oh, that would be W0ASP, Whiskey 0 Alpha Sierra Papa, Terry in Berkeley with traffic.
Gotcha that time. Go ahead for the next 3.
This is KA6, ETE, Kilo Alpha 6, Echo Tango Echo, Jim in Loveland.
WA7EM, Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike, Ed and Erie.
KF0GQH, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Golf Quebec Hotel, Kent in Wellington.
Okay, got those 3. Go ahead for 3 more.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Golf Quebec, India, Doc in Pierce.
Okay, we're going to hold right there. So did Kent and Doc go to the test on the same day, or what?
Affirmative, and I won.
He was cheating.
WA1 IUF, Whiskey Alpha 1 India, Uniform Foxtrot, Alan Mead, have a topic.
Any other check-ins? Alpha through Zulu. Please call now.
W0 UCG, Whiskey Bravo 0, Uniform Charlie Golf, Jeff in Boulder with a question.
This is KB0YDN, Kilo Bravo 0, Yankee Delta November. Eric, mobile, no traffic.
This is WB5TEX, Whiskey Bravo 5, Tango Echo X-Ray, Dale and Loveland, no traffic.
Have those down. Go ahead for 3 more.
This is 0 Lima Echo Echo K0LEE Lee in Greeley to traffic.
Okay, this is Net Control K3SAD running through the list. I've got K0AZA Ron in Fort Collins, K0MLG Marty in Wellington, K0HAK Dave in Fort Collins, N0EMP and K0DBE Greg and Debbie in Fort Collins, Whiskey 0 LEI Chad and Stout, Whiskey 0 ASP Terry and Berthoud, KA6 ETE Jim and Loveland, WA7 EM Ed and Erie, KF0 GQH Kent and Wellington, KF0 GQI Doc the Cheater and Pierce, WB0 UCG Jeff and Boulder, KV0 YDN Eric Mobile, Whiskey Bravo 5 TEX Dale in Loveland, K0 LEE Lee in Greeley. Any other check-ins for tonight's TechNet?
Just checking in. Did you get WA1 IUF Whiskey Alpha 1 India Uniform Foxtrot?
You care for the reindeer. What type of stuff do you feed them? Do they have any kind of exercise program? What do you do with the reindeer?
Gentleman's reindeer, I think you got victimized by your radio. I think you're looking for one channel up.
It sounds like somebody linked a repeater to set on the
Foxtrot. I did not catch the name or location.
WA1 IUF Whiskey Alpha 1 India Uniform Foxtrot. My name is Al, and I'm in Meade, and I have a question, please.
Okay, got that down. Any other check-ins for tonight's TechNet?
Net Control, this is K0KYU. We're recording this, of course, but the gentleman who wanted sat on air, that's on the Buckhorn. The Buckhorn, both of those, and also it's linked to Grover. So it is what it is. Come on over. We got a lot of people on there.
Yeah, no worries. This is K3SAD Net Control. I've got like a quad watch radio, and it always jumps on me at the worst time, so I kind of figured out what was going on there. Going back to check-ins, I got K0TYU, and I missed the name and the location again. I'm sorry about that. TYU, can you come back with your name and location, please? Okay, that's good enough for now. We'll take some check-ins here later. Dave, you're up. Fort Collins, you had a topic for tonight. What do you got?
Question. Sorry, were you calling on K0HAK?
Away from the radio. Did you ask for call signs November through Zulu?
Yeah, sorry, I opened it up to Alpha through Zulu, so if you want to check in, go ahead. You got the floor for a second.
Thanks. I stepped away from the radio. This is K5SGC, Kilo 5 Sierra Golf Charlie, the other Dave in Fort Collins.
Hence the confusion. Gotcha. Sorry about that. Okay, any other check-ins? We'll take them throughout the evening, but now K0HAK, go ahead with your topic, please.
Yeah, thanks. My question is about, and I don't even know how to phrase this, otherwise I would have Googled it, ground wire gauge comparability or something. So, like, you know, I know, like, if I take a 4-gauge copper wire, I know how thick that is, you know, I know amperage capabilities of that piece of wire, but it's always recommended that you use like flat strap or braided cable for grounding, and I don't know like how that translates into like, I don't know, power handling, for example. You know, do you need 3/4, 1 inch? You know, there's a lot of different sizes. I didn't know if there was some way to kind of gauge, for lack of a better word, how wide of a strap you need for, you know, grounding your equipment.
NYY.
N0NYY, got you checked in. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Automatic check-in. I like that. Better than TSA. The ground strap idea stems from skin effect. RF that travels on copper normally travels on the surface, so you want as much surface area as you can get. Solid copper pipe wire doesn't have as much surface area, so you get more surface area with the braided material. How wide you need The more surface area, if you have an RF problem and you're trying to keep RF out of the shack, the more surface area you have, the better it works. 1-inch strap is fairly common. Smaller strap is common for connections, like the 3/8 or 1/2-inch strap is common for connections between the radios. There's not a lot of data out there that says, well, 1-inch gives you this, 7/8 give you that, 3/4 gives you that. The general perception is bigger is better. Bigger is also more expensive. Do the best you can. If you have specific RF issues that need to be mitigated, then we take a closer look at that after the fact. For most grounding, copper wire works, solid copper wire works fine. 4-gauge and larger is usually recommended. Again, depending on your particular installation, you can find issues with it, but if you start out generally as good as you can afford to do, you probably won't happen across very many issues. But it's not an exact science of this equals that. So it's more anecdotal than it is measurable. And zeroing my Y back to net.
Go ahead, Mike.
Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike, Ed. So if you're trying, the National Electric Code, the thing that the electricians follow is handling shorts and other problems at 60 hertz, which is almost DC. I mean, it's way, way, way low frequency. If you're trying to protect against lightning strikes or other such anomalies, it's extremely high frequency. A lightning strike is an impulse of a few nanoseconds wide, and through the magic of mathematics, that can be translated into a high megahertz or gigahertz signal. At those frequencies, everything's an inductor or a capacitor or a conductor, and energy will follow all kinds of crazy paths. So you want to make a path to ground that is extremely robust and handle an extremely high frequency signal, and that's why you want something like the flat braid. I think as a matter of practice, an awful lot of hams are using 1-inch or 1.5 or thereabouts braid. WA7EM.
This is K3SAD. Dave, do you feel like your question's been answered?
Yep, absolutely. Answered my question perfectly. Just kind of needed some guidance on, how big of strap to use, and it sounds like as big as possible, but 1.5 inch is some of the most common sizes. So that definitely helps me pick a direction to go, so I appreciate all the input on that. K0HAK, back to Net.
I teach some grounding and bonding for electricians, and I enjoy starting a portion of the grounding and bonding class with what's the ampacity of a number 12 THHN, and they go, okay, they look in their book and they say whatever. I was like, okay, and what is it if you have this other kind of insulation? Oh, okay, it's this whatever. That's okay. Now what is it when you strip all the insulation off and they just give you a blank stare? It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I tell them, well, whatever the number is, it's like 4,000. They can handle 4,000 amps for 4 cycles. So moving on, W0ASP. Terry, you had a topic to discuss.
Thank you, George, for taking the net tonight. W0ASP here. I have a question about using twisted pairs as receive cable from your antennas. Of course, Cat5 cable cannot handle transmit power, but I was thinking about, has anyone ever used it for reception purposes? And do they have any advice as to any troubles or issues they've had using approximately 100 ohm balanced receive cable from an antenna?
And 0EMP.
EMP, you have the floor.
Thank you. This is exactly what Glenn Elmore in 6GN does. with his short dipole receive antenna that has differential op amps on it, and then he wants very high common mode isolation going from that amplifier, which is mounted, or that antenna, which is mounted outside with the amplifier at the center of the dipole. He takes that signal and uses unshielded twisted pair or shielded twisted pair cable, Cat5 cable, to bring his signal in. And what he does, let me reset this. You'll have to get a hold of him for the exact part number, but there are a pair of integrated circuits. I believe they're made by Analog Devices. One is a line driver and one is a line receiver, and they have extremely high common mode rejection, and their intended use is to serve NTSC video signals over cat cable, and he's using it for HF up to 30 megahertz just fine, and 0 EMP.
Any other comments?
ASP backup question.
Go ahead.
Do you know any difference between, I know that Cat5 cable unshielded is terribly, terribly nasty, but they make Cat5 shielded, they make Cat6 shielded, where the entire bundle of the pair have one shield on them, and they make Cat7 shielded, where each individual pair are shielded in addition to the entire bundle shielded. Do you have any? Does anybody have any advice or experience with any of these different types of cable?
EMP, let me make sure I got this. Your microphone was cutting in and out there, but I could copy all of it. I would again check with Glenn Elmore, because especially if you're going to use it in conjunction with the line driver and line receiver he uses, he would have more info on that, because I think he's tried them all in 0 EMP.
Thank you, Greg. W0ASP, back to Net.
This is K3SAD Net Control for tonight's TechNet. Jeff, WB0UCG, you had a topic for tonight.
Yeah, thanks. WB0UCG. I've got a power supply question. I've got a variable power supply made by Longwy Instruments. The model number is LW-K3010D. That's Lima Whiskey Kilo 3010 dog. Variable power supply that I bought brand new. It has about a volt peak-to-peak ripple at a frequency of about 50 kilohertz with no load or with a 500 milliamp load. So I wonder if anybody thinks there's something wrong with this power supply. Thanks.
ASP comment?
Bless you. Go ahead with the comment.
No power supply should have a 1 volt peak-to-peak AC ripple. And if you are experiencing that, something is wrong.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Of course, it's a switching power supply, but 1 volt peak-to-peak ripple is like ridiculous. The spec in the manual is 20 millivolts.
Yeah, roger that, and I would even balk at 20 millivolts as being problematic. But you have a defective unit.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I didn't realize it just when I bought it, but I bought it last spring, so I probably should have returned it, or thank you.
As an anecdote, I often use linear DC supplies from a very reputable supplier, and very often after use and after they get warm, these units fail in service and they have to be replaced frequently.
Thank you very much for the comment, WB0UCG.
W0ASP, back to that.
And Terry, I would add that I heard the same big diminish there in your last transmission that Greg mentioned, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but might look into it. Moving on. WA1 IUF, Al and Mead, you had a topic for tonight.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate you running the net tonight as well. Ron can probably answer this because Ron and I were going back and forth last week. So when I travel for work, how can I jump onto the net? What would I need to take with me traveling when I go into a different state, aside of an HT?
And why?
Mark, go ahead.
Getting into the repeater via radio from other states will be a tremendously difficult task. Getting into the repeater via Echolink with nothing more than a smartphone and some cell service is extremely easy. You do have to register your call sign for Echolink, and they give you, I don't remember what they call the little number that they give you, but you have to have that number, and you have to know what it is. And you download the Echolink app on your phone, and your phone gets you online into the repeater from anywhere that you have cell service. So that will reach much farther than any HT with any antenna will. It's not as much fun because it's not pure radio, but I used to travel a lot, and I used Echolink all the time to get back into the repeater, which is why when I do the net, I leave a specific chunk of time for Echolink people to check in. Point of note, when you are using Echolink and you want to speak on the repeater, you have to wait for the carrier to drop the repeater, not just the courtesy beep, but the repeater carrier has to drop, and then you can key up on Echolink and get in through the repeater, which is why I leave those breaks when I do the net control. N0NYY.
Thank you very much, N01YYY. I think I got it right.
This is K3SAD Net Control. I would add that there's also a application for Macintosh, or the Apple products and Windows for Echolink. So if you're in the office or what have you and just want to listen in, then it's really handy for that. That delay can get excruciating because you're waiting a second to hear it or more, and then your reaction time is delayed by a second, and then you're reaching to try to figure out where the space bar is and all that. And it can get a little cumbersome. On the phone, it's pretty easy to use, but you still encounter that delay, and that, like Bart was saying, you just simply cannot, you're speechless until somebody is quiet enough that you can jump on.
Great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
All right. Any other topics for tonight? Any other late check-ins? Please call K3SAD Net Control.
This is KD0TYU again. I kind of have an announcement.
TYU, go ahead with the announcement, and Double, hold on to your mic, and we will get you in here in just a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm running about 3 radios at once trying to get all this stuff done. For the next couple weeks until December 10th, we're going to be running Santa on the Air over on the Buckhorn repeaters and linked Grover. And now I realize the 275 used to be linked to that, but this is only a temporary thing from 5 to 7 each night. So just be kind of aware of that Grover is going to be bounced to those repeaters, and then we'll come back automatically after 7 when we bring this back. So thanks so much for running that. Appreciate it. KD0TYU, back to you.
Thank you for that. This is K3SAD Net Control. Now the double that was a second ago, go ahead and call in. Okay. I do have one grounding-related question. So basically, I'm thinking about putting an antenna on my roof, and I've got options. So I'm curious as to whether it makes more sense, in general, to attempt to fish the cable through the house or run it on the outside of the house. Looks be damned, I don't care about that. I'm just interested in the function of it. And in turn, with grounding, if you start inside the attic, do you worry about grounding at all? You're inside the attic. Okay, now you're outside the attic. Do you want to ground towards the base of the antenna and run a ground wire all the way down to the to grade, or would you rather run the antenna on down and intercept it right as it's entering the house down at grade level? Thoughts and comments, please call K3S80.
NYY.
Bart.
Kind of depends on the bands of interest. If you want UHF, VHF, and 220, grounding is never a bad idea, but it's not going to have a significant effect on your radiation. If you're going to be running HF, grounding is likely to have a fairly large effect unless you run a pure dipole, in which case it will have minimal effect but still some. As far as in and out of the attic goes, if you have a rooftop antenna, I strongly recommend having your ground wire run outside. If you have an in the attic antenna, running the ground inside is okay. Problem comes if you, on the very small chance that you do suffer a direct strike, a wire inside the house from the rooftop will take current down to ground inside the house. It could start fires internally that you wouldn't see for hours. If it runs down the outside of the house and it happens to catch fire, it doesn't continue to burn unnoticed for a long period of time. And 0 in my way.
Okay. Sorry, I just got tapped on the glass with some dinner, so I think I'm being hinted at. Any other late check-ins for tonight's TechNet?
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
K0MLG. Just a reminder to check your lithium HT batteries or anything that you use lithium. I have 2 Yaesu FT70 HTs, and I have 2 batteries that are bulged and cracked. And 2 or 3 days ago, I went to swap batteries out on one of the FT70s and grabbed the battery. Was not in a charger. It was already charged. It was laying in my, I have a fireproof bag that I charge my batteries in now. And I thought, that doesn't look quite right. Set it on the back of the battery so it would be the back, not the part the inside that would go towards the radio, and it was like a teeter-totter. And I looked at it. Sure enough, it's bulged and it's cracked. So it's laying out in the snow right now. I'm waiting for them to spontaneous to combust, but I haven't had that happen yet. And I will shoot them at one time, coming up, like Greg did with his. Just a reminder, check your batteries to make sure they're not bulging or cracked. I don't have a date on these. The next thing, Greg, when you buy a replacement battery, take a Sharpie and put the date, month and year when you bought that battery, so you can kind of keep track of your batteries, because there's fires all the time. We've talked about this on these TechNets before. It's just something to be aware of, and especially for those of us, or you, people that don't use your HTs very often, they just sit around and do nothing. Mine get used in rotation all the time. So just double check your batteries. K0MLG.
K6ETE.
Go ahead, comment.
K6ETE. Just want to add to Marty's statement about the batteries that a lot of people don't pay attention to, with them using the lithium batteries in HTs now as compared to the old nickel metal hydride or NiCad batteries. If you are not going to be using your radio for a week or two, do not leave them on the charger and discharge the radio to 50%. Safe storage charge for any lithium-based battery is 50 to 60% charge is their safe storage, to where it is highly less likely that you will get any defects or bulges in the battery. That happens when they are continuously charged and not used. The lithium is meant to be charged and discharged on a regular basis or set in a safe charge status, which is 50 to 60%.
Thanks for that, Jim. I'd also add, don't get too much with the blinders, because a lot of things have lithium batteries. I had a laptop that was swelling up. What I first noticed was it was getting really difficult to use the trackpad and the space bar, and I was just kind of scratching my head like, what is up with this computer? And it was pushing its way through the top of the case, basically. It was really swollen. So, yeah, it's a good idea to keep an eye on all electronics and see if they're getting fat. Any other comments or topics?
Yeah, Zero EMP.
EMP, go ahead.
Thank you. Every other Wednesday we do a lunch at Perkins. It's been called the Ham Radio Lunch, although you don't have to be a ham to attend it. It was a follow-on to a long history of a every other Wednesday lunch that Charlie Brown, KF0CB, used to promulgate, and then after his passing, Mark, W2MIC, who's now another silent key, kind of took up the mantle, and we moved to Perkins. Let me reset this. So this is the week for that lunch, and it is at Perkins on West Eisenhower in Loveland. Starts about 11:30. Everyone's welcome, ham or not, club member or not. It's not a club event. And welcome to join, and Zero EMP.
Great. Thanks, Greg, for the reminder about TechNet with lunch. Anything else?
That's all I've got, and Zero EMP.
Thank you. In general, anybody have any other topics they wish to discuss, or shall I close?
W0LEI.
There was a double there. Chad, go ahead.
Yes, this is back to the discussion on the grounding strap width. I had a question several years ago, I think. I read an article that recommended not using braided leads for that because of the RF on the surface, and I just wondered if that was valid or not. Somebody have an input on that.
YDN.
Eric, go ahead.
KB0YDN here. I have no idea on its factuality, but there was a claim made at least once that I read that the current flow through the braid would make the braids tend to force themselves apart because of the magnetic field that was created at the time of the braid, and so that the braids would basically come apart under the stress of a lightning strike. I have no idea if that's true or not. For plain RF at the levels we're dealing with, braid is just fine, and also for a safety ground. But for a direct strike, I don't think you want to trust braid. But that's the reason I heard. KB0YDN, back to net.
This is K3SAD. I get philosophical about lightning. It jumped a mile to get here, so a lot of times I kind of defer to, if it wants to pick up the house and move it like it did to my uncle's house, it'll pick up the house and move it. But I think if everybody's using braids, I'd probably use braids and not think much of it. If anything, I would just think of the corrosion aspect over time with water intrusion and that sort of thing getting wicked in. But beyond that, if the lightning's going to tear it apart, I don't think a solid's going to hold up a heck of a lot better. But that's just my 2 cents. Any other comments on that question?
7 a.m.
PM, go ahead.
Yeah, well, there are companies that sell rolled copper solid. It's thin, and comes in a roll. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, but if you really, really, really want to be the very best of the best, you use this copper. It's an inch or two wide, and it's solid. And it can be formed, around curves, but naturally it's much harder to form around, around equipment and so on. Some people will run this copper strip to their workbench and then have a copper plate upon which everything sits. That's the best of the best of the best, but that's getting expensive and difficult to work with. WA7EM.
You feel your question was answered?
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to be the best of the best here, but I have a lot of braid out there, and I've refrained from using it because of that article and if lightning strikes, it strikes, and I think that would be the last thing I'd have to worry about. I appreciate everybody's input. Thank you, W0LEI. Back to Net.
Okay, so let's not forget about lunch on Wednesday this week, 11:30 at Perkins, and Santa's on the air every night on the Buckhorn repeaters from 5 to 7 p.m. This is K3SAD, Net Control for this week's Northern Colorado Weekly Club Net. Before we close this meeting, any late check-ins, other comments or other discussions?
Kilo Golf 6, Oscar Bravo Charlie.
Kilo Lima 7, India Echo India, Fort Collins.
AEGSCS, Alpha Echo 0, Charlie Foxtrot 7, Fort Collins, late check-in.
Okay, I got those down. This concludes the NCARC TechNet. Net Control would like to thank each station for their participation. We had a total of 23 check-ins tonight. This net will occur again next Monday at the same time on this repeater. This is K3SAD closing the net at 6:48 p.m. 7-3, and good night, everyone.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.